But if you guys don't know, Jeffrey Epstein's documents have been unsealed to the public. There's like dozens and dozens and dozens of them. So we're gonna see what has been leaked out of um out of these documents. So in case you guys don't know, as you guys can see here, Jeffrey Epstein, he was a really, really good scam artist, basically. He had like no credentials to do anything in life. He even played off being a teacher for a while and just went up into school and taught kids. Which if you know this guy, he most definitely shouldn't. So he uh he ended up getting really, really big though by just how well he spoke and how well he carried himself. So they they most definitely loved him because he was all about himself, and God knows Hollywood is all about themselves. So it was a good little act going on. So anyway, this dude, he was a fucking millionaire basically because Lex Wessner, in case you don't know him, Leslie Wexner, and who else was it? Was somebody else that was involved with giving him just like basically everything, like the island that he owned, that he sex trafficked and abused a ton of women in. That island was given to him by Leslie Wexner, I'm pretty sure. So, anywho, um, he became the suspect of a police investigation in Palm Beach, Florida in 2005 after he was accused of paying a 14-year-old girl for sex. Now, he was arrested in 2008. Um, there are so many allegations against this dude. It's insane. It's disgusting. Not only did he sit there and groom a bunch of women, but his little buddy, Ghislaine Maxwell, she also helped recruit these girls and bring them in and also had a part in abusing them as well. So dozens of other underage girls described similar sexual abuse, but prosecutors ultimately allowed the financier to plead guilty in 2008 to a charge involving a single victim. He served 13 months in a jail work release program. And this is the big thing about this case, though, guys, is Epstein wasn't like a huge celebrity himself. I don't even know who the dude was. Like he took care of finances for a bunch of famous people and they trusted him with his money, and that was their mistake, obviously, but he also knew how to get girls for the luxurious man that normally couldn't do it. So there's a lot of big names associated with him and with this case as a whole because it wasn't just him abusing women. He was basically like he orchestrated a ring, a an entire sex ring of these underage girls to massage and be sexually exploited and abused by celebrities. Like whatever anyone wanted, he could get for them. It was disgusting. So, anywho, um, he went to jail. He killed himself in jail when he was awaiting trial, even though he was on suicide watch, and there was supposedly a guard right outside of his cell door, but he somehow ended up doing doing the job pretty well, according to everybody else. So the documents being unsealed are part of a 2015 lawsuit filed against Maxwell by one of Epstein's victims, Virginia Jeffrey. She is one of the dozens of women who sued Epstein, saying he had abused them at his homes in Florida, New York, the Virgin Islands, and New Mexico. Joffrey said the summer she turned 17, she was lured away from a job as a spa attendant at Trump's Mar-a-Lago club to become a masseuse, like majority of these women, for Epstein, a job that involved performing sexual acts. Joffrey also claimed she was pressured into having sex with men in Epstein's social orbit, including Britain's Prince Andrew, former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, former U.S. Senator George Mitchell, and the billionaire Glenn Dubin, among others. So apparently all of those men said her accounts were fabricated, though. Yeah. Prince Andrew is not going to come out and be like, oh yeah, by the way, I did a thing, guys. Whoops. No, that's not how celebrities work. So Joffrey settled a lawsuit against Prince Andrew in 2022. That same year, Joffrey withdrew an accusation she had made against Epstein's former attorney, the law professor, the law professor Alan Dershowitz, saying she may have made a mistake in identifying him as an abuser. Joffrey's lawsuit against Maxwell was settled in 2017, but the Miami Herald went to court to access court papers initially filed under seal, including transcripts of interviews the lawyers did with potential witnesses. About 2,000 pages were unsealed by a court in 2019. I cannot speak today, oh my God. So additional documents were released in 2020, 2021, and 2022. And the batch currently being released contains about 250 records with sections that were blacked out or were sealed entirely because of concerns about the privacy rights of Epstein's victims and other people whose names had come up during the legal battle but weren't complicit in his crime. Nearly 200 have been released as of Friday. The judge hasn't set a target for when all the documents should be made public, but more. So what do these documents show? So this judge evaluated the documents and decided what would be unsealed, and she said in December that she was ordering the records released because so much of the information within them is already public. The people named in the records include many of Epstein's accusers, members of his staff who told their stories to tabloid newspapers, people who served as witnesses at Maxwell's trial, people who were mentioned in passing during depositions who aren't accused of anything salacious, and people who investigated Epstein, including prosecutors, a journalist, and a police detective. There are also bold-faced names of public figures. Good Lord. Stroking out over here. Okay, so it's basically a bunch of people that have already been named at some point. So let's get into this as far as the documents. So some of the high-profile names in the court documents include Prince Andrew, the former U.S. President Bill Clinton, Michael Jackson, and David Copperfield. These associates, just unsealed names, were contained in court documents filed as part of Epstein accuser Virginia Joffrey's lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell. The documents include excerpts of depositions and motions. In this case, the British socialite was convicted in December 2021 of sex trafficking and similar charges for procuring teens for disgraced financier Epstein. Prior to the unsealing, the names were listed in court papers as variants of J. Doe. Many of the names are people who have been publicly identified as Epstein associates prior to this unsealing. The inclusion of a name in this list does not mean that said associate has been accused of wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. Among the names are people mentioned in passing at legal proceedings. In a deposition, Maxwell appears to say that Andrew visited Epstein's island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Epstein had been accused of abusing numerous girls on this island. Were you present on the island when Prince Andrew visited? Maxwell was asked. She responded in the affirmative, and when asked how many times, she said, I can only remember once. When asked if there were any girls on the island at the time, Maxwell insisted there were no girls on the island at all. No girls, no women other than the staff who worked at the house. One document included a deposition given by Joanna Sjoberg, whom Maxwell allegedly procured for the purpose of performing sex acts on Epstein. Sjoberg said in her deposition that Epstein said one time that Clinton likes them young, referring to girls. In 2019, Clinton's spokesperson, Angel Urena, denied claims made about Clinton's involvement with Epstein and wrote in a statement on Twitter that President Clinton knows nothing about the terrible crimes Jeffrey Epstein pleaded guilty to in Florida some years ago, or those with which he has been recently charged in New York. Clinton notably had an 18-month-long affair with Monica Lewinsky, his then 22-year-old intern during his first term as president. He was 49 years old. Sjoberg also said that the late musician Michael Jackson was at Epstein's Palm Beach mansion and that she met the famed magician David Copperfield. Did you ever meet anybody famous when you were with Jeffrey? She asked. I met Michael Jackson at Epstein's house in Palm Beach. Asked whether she massaged Jackson, Sjoberg said, I did not. As for Copperfield, Sjoberg said that he attended dinner at one of Epstein's homes and he did some magic tricks. Did you observe Copperfield to be a friend of Jeffrey Epstein's? She was asked. Sjoberg replied in the affirmative. Did Copperfield ever discuss Jeffrey's involvement with young girls with you? She was also asked. He questioned me if I was aware that girls were getting paid to find other girls. Wow. Okay. So he was also getting the girls to recruit other girls too. That is insane. Copperfield said in the deposition, didn't tell her any specifics of that question. Did he say whether they were teenagers or anything along those lines? He was also asked. He did not. Donald Trump, whose association with Epstein has been widely reported, was also mentioned in the documents. The former U.S. president is not accused of wrongdoing. In Sjoberg's deposition, she said that they went to one of Trump's casinos in Atlantic City when a storm prevented Epstein's plane from landing in New York City. Jeffrey said, great, we'll call Trump and we'll go to, I don't recall the name of the casino, but we'll go to the casino. Asked at one point whether she ever gave Trump a massage, Sjoberg said no. The deposition also includes Sjoberg's account of allegedly meeting Prince Andrew at Epstein's New York home. Ghislaine asked me to come to a closet. She just said, come with me. We went to a closet and grabbed the puppet of Prince Andrew. She said in the deposition, and I knew it was the Prince Andrew because I had recognized him as a person. I didn't know who he was, and so when I saw the tag said Prince Andrew, then it clicked. I'm like, that's who it is. Sjoberg and Maxwell then returned to the living room with a puppet. I just remember someone suggesting a photo, and they told us to go get on the couch. And so Andrew and Virginia sat on the couch, and they put the puppet on her lap. And so then I sat on Andrew's lap, and I believe on my own violation, and they took the puppet's hands and put it on Virginia's breast. And so Andrew put his on mine. Sjoberg said she went to bed shortly thereafter. Did you hear Ghislaine Maxwell tell Virginia to do anything while you were in that room? She was asked. Sjoberg replied no. Joffrey, who claimed that Epstein and Maxwell forced her into a sexual encounter with Britain's Prince Andrew at age 17, had sued the publishing heiress for defamation after claiming the accuser lied. Joffrey settled her lawsuit against Maxwell in 2017. In 2021, Joffrey sued Prince Andrew over the alleged sexual abuse. The suit settled in early 2022. Andrew has always strenuously denied any wrongdoing. As part of the settlement, he agreed to donate to Joffrey's Victims' Rights charity. The documents released is among several tranches of filings in Joffrey's civil case that were unsealed following the Miami Herald's year-long effort to make them public. Joffrey did not make allegations of wrongdoing against Clinton. In one of the documents, unsealed, In 2020, Joffrey claimed Maxwell participated in Epstein's sexual abuse of teen girls. We knew this. These documents were released several weeks after Maxwell's arrest for her involvement in Epstein's sex trafficking. Joffrey claimed that Maxwell lured her into Epstein's perverse orbit under the false pretense of work as a professional masseuse. Instead, Joffrey said Maxwell trained me as a sex slave. Good God, dude. Could you imagine being that young? Like, don't get me wrong. I did a lot of really, really grown things that I probably shouldn't have done at such an early age. But could you imagine fucking going for potentially your first job and it's you meeting up with these rich ass people and they offer you a what would seem like a dream position and they sit there and show you how to basically S their D as an underage kid. Sounds sounds pretty promising. Documents released in July also provided insight into Maxwell and Epstein's relationship. In January 2015, email exchange, Epstein told Maxwell, "You have done nothing wrong, and I would urge you to start acting like it. Go outside, head high, not as in escaping convict. Go to parties, deal with it." In another 2015 email, Epstein tells Maxwell she can issue a reward to any of Joffrey's friends to prove her allegations are false, including what Epstein said was a new version of a claim that the renowned English theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking, who had participated in an underage orgy in the Virgin Islands. Hawking, who died in 2018, has not been accused of a crime related to Epstein. How you have an underage orgy and nobody looks into that, I don't know. So I guess we'll never know. A large collection of documents in Joffrey's civil case were also unsealed in August 2019. Those papers included accusations since denied that global leaders were participants in Epstein's trafficking ring. Epstein was arrested on 6th of July 2019 for sex trafficking. Authorities determined that he hung himself in August of that year from his jail cell. Maxwell was sentenced in June 2022 to 20 years in prison, and she has maintained her innocence. Okay. Well, it's basically just showing potentially more people that we already knew about. So that's interesting, but I most definitely did not hear about the whole I heard about the Prince Andrew thing, don't get me wrong with that. But I did not hear about what the fuck is his name? Oh my god. Yeah, Stephen Hawking. That's it. Oh, what's the actual like list? Let me see. Sorry guys, I have Bing and I'm not gonna lie, I have no freaking clue how to change my web browser. So bear with me. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Let's see. No, I don't want your USA Today. I want my information now. Okay. It's not giving me the whole list, but okay. Well, anywho, it it seems like we're getting more and more public information about this case, which is really good. And the only thing that I have to say that I don't like about this case is there are so many people that were affiliated with, sadly, the unfortunate things that happened in this case that it's like it's to the point where you can't tell who's coming forward as a genuine person who has been abused or somebody looking for a little bit of a check from a celebrity. So it's, I don't know. That's the only thing that bothers me about this case is there are people that have come forward with, made up things. So anywho, I just wanted to kind of get on here, go through that and see what these little documents were showing, but apparently it's nothing very new. So anywho, you guys have a good night. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you guys find anything that's like new, I'm gonna look through these again and kind of go through the actual documentation, but I kind of wanted a brief idea on what came out. So, anyways, you guys have a good night. I hope you guys enjoyed scrolling with me, chit chatting. This is insane. Like, this is the fact that this happened in our lifetime, guys, and it's like a public thing, and the dude who is involved with it is dead. That is insane. This is one of those unbelievable things that's like hard to wrap your mind around. Like if somebody were to tell me that there was a dude that pretended to be a really, really smart intellectual and got really close with celebrities and then got access to millions and millions and millions of dollars and then also got access to wealth and power and women and then used that to create a whole sex island of underage children to perform sex acts on is you couldn't, yeah, I'm saying it out loud right now. It's been a fact for years and it's still like, are you what do you mean? So yeah, I don't know. When is this gonna? I want to know when they're gonna like be done with this case. It's more and more. Well, it doesn't stop. It just feels like there's something new with it every day. Well, anywho, have a good night. Let me know what you guys think about this case, what you find out about this case. Lee. I will be